The Rise of Skywalker opens to just $176 million. That is a headline on today's MBE Movie News. And yes guys, this one is coming in from Forbes, of course, a very, very trusted source indeed when it comes to all things box office, and they have gave us a very, very lengthy article indeed on the trials and tribulations of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Of course, by any franchise standard, any normal movie standard, $176 million on an opening weekend would be pretty damn decent performance, it has to be said. But this is Star Wars. It operates on a different metric, a different universe, of course, a different galaxy from a long time ago, far away, long time ago. Got that the wrong way around there, but you know what guys, it doesn't matter, because this movie has opened, as I did say, with $175.5 million. That's domestically, of course, in the United States, but in terms of overall worldwide performance, it's currently sitting at $375.5 million worldwide. Now you may ask, why the hell is this a headline on a movie news show? Well, to be quite frank, I always discuss box office on a Monday, usually UK centric, and it's usually a week behind. So I wouldn't have the chance to speak about The Rise of Skywalker on this week's box office segment, and with it being hot on the heels of this movie, one of the biggest of the year, releasing, I felt like I had to speak about it, because we did a little pre-watch show on the Force Friday show speaking about the horrendous reviews for this movie and what it meant for Kathleen Kennedy, Lucasfilm and Star Wars as a brand moving forward. Since then, I've had the chance to go and watch the movie with Stephen, who's not with me at the moment. We will more than likely be doing a lengthy discussion at least, if not a review, on our thoughts on the movie. I will try not to get too bogged down with my personal thoughts on the movie, but needless to say, it did significantly better in my mind, ticking some boxes off than I would have thought it would have did prior to going and giving this movie a watch. All the hysteria and hyperbole and whatnot just reeking out of everyone about this movie, how it was a disaster, it was the worst Star Wars movie ever made. Well, it's not even close to being the worst Star Wars movie ever made. It is, for me, probably on a par with The Force Awakens and maybe Rogue One, hovering around the Revenge of the Sith, round about that ballpark, nowhere near the original trilogy. But for JJ to inherit such a discombobulated mess of a story, so much setups which didn't jive with his original vision for this trilogy. He had set up something for Rian Johnson after The Force Awakens. He came in, completely ignored a lot of it, did his own thing, ripped up the mythology and whatnot, and gave his Force face time. And for JJ to come in, stamp his own authority back on the franchise, on the trilogy, and give us a reasonable, coherent conclusion to this Skywalker saga and this sequel trilogy, I thought he did a not too bad job, I have to say. He did a decent job of closing things up. Wasn't the best movie I've ever seen, certainly nowhere near the best movie of 2019. There was a lot of problems in there, a lot of issues for legacy characters and just how it affects the overall way I view the original trilogy, with the likes of Palpatine being in there. But we'll get into that at another date. That will be for the review. May come out tomorrow, may come out sometime this week, but it will be out. But back to the actual performance. This is coming from Forbes, as I did say, and they have done a very, very, very lengthy chat about how this compares to a whole array of different movies in terms of multipliers and where the final cum may lie for this movie, both domestically and worldwide. They are suggesting that if it plays out the same as most Christmas period, holiday period movies, with a circa 2 to 3% multiplier over that period, then it could be looking at anywhere between $500 to $600 million grossed in the United States. Even if it performs really under par, this movie should be looking to hit around about $1 billion nonetheless. Now, me personally, my prediction would be that with it sitting at nearly $400 million after 4 days, I would find it very, very disappointing and highly unlikely that this movie won't reach the $1 billion mark. I expect this to gross between $1.2 and $1.4 billion. If it's me, put my neck on the line, then I'd probably go closer to 1.4, because it's Star Wars, and even though it has been fairly divisive, it still has a degree of aura around the name, and it will drag some people out who otherwise wouldn't go and see a movie like this on its opening weekend. We were there just earlier on today, in actual fact, and there was quite a few old people there as well. I was about to say old chaps, but there may have been chapettes as well. There was a few old people in there, and you don't really see them popping along to opening weekends usually, certainly not for big blockbuster fairs. So that is the power of Star Wars. They bring a whole array of demographics in. There was young people, old people, in between people like me, and the theatre was nearly full, and this was on the 4th day with multiple screenings at this View Theatre we went to. So I think this movie will do just fine. I think it will fall somewhere between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi in terms of domestic cum over in the United States. Over here, I have no idea how this movie's performing. We are always behind. BFI don't give us updated figures. Box Office Mojo are always a week behind. I have no idea how it's opened, but I would be stunned if it's not opened comfortably in at number 1. And I would imagine it would hit between $60 to $70 million. A real disaster would probably see it at 50. I don't see that happening. I see this movie doing just enough to eke out enough of a profit for them to close the chapter on the Skywalker saga, and then they can move off and do their own characters, their own stories, spin-offs, maybe with Poe, if that's a spoiler, sorry, and maybe the Zori Bliss character. So yeah, I'm not too concerned about this. They go on to say that in another article that it's earned the lowest cinema score of any live-action Star Wars movie, which has been counted by obviously Cinema Score. The original trilogy wasn't. They predominantly receive A- to A+ ratings. This one has picked up a B+ rating, and that is apparently a disaster for the movie. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's B+, still decent. I think that's reflective on the actual content of this movie as well, in terms of artistically anyway. I don't see it being an A movie. It's not an A. If I was to rate it in a metric of 10, I'd probably give it a solid 6.5, maybe a 7 if I was really tortured into giving it. But it's not an amazing movie. It's decent, it's okay, and I think it'll do just fine. But look guys, I will move on because I'm not going to get bogged down with Star Wars chat for the rest of this show. I've been speaking about this movie for goddamn 2 years now, man, and we'll do a review on it in short shrift if you'd like. But the next topic is going to be kind of a tale of two different fortunes. We're speaking about the trials and tribulations of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. It's struggling at a mere $175 million opening. Well, this next movie could only dream of grossing that amount of money in its wildest fantasies. $6.5 million opening for Cats. Wow. I will say that again, a $6.5 million opening for the Andrew Lloyd Webber adaptation of the Cats musical. It opened to 3,380 domestic theatres. That's a reasonably wide opening in the United States, and that's a god-awful start for the movie. It's an average of $1,923 per screening, and it's grossed Lord knows how many worldwide. I think it's circa $10 million worldwide. What a disaster that is. Now, they do draw comparisons, Cinema Blend, with the opening performance of The Greatest Showman, which opened up with around $7-8 million, and it went on to do pretty damn well. It earned a profit, it had incredible legs. I personally remember over here, can't speak for the States, but in the United Kingdom, that movie was around for about 16-17 weeks. In and around the top 10 of the box office. It just went on and on and on. Seemed to have good word of mouth. It had a very good cinema score. This thing has a C- cinema score, or a C+, I can't recall. I think not. Yeah, C+ cinema score. It's a disaster for the movie. It's not been rated well by audience members. The critics hate it. They say it's a discombobulated shambles of a movie. Visually, has no discernible plot. It's just a whole array of different musical numbers threaded together with a decently stellar cast coming in, doing their parts, and it feels very compartmentalised and all over the place. It's a shame, because I spoke about it last week, and the director, I want to say his name was, I can't even recall what his name was, that's how unimportant he is to me, but he was speaking about how the movie had improved dramatically from that first trailer, and that he hoped the audience would go in and really love it and appreciate it. Well, it looks like that's not been the case. Looks like he was perhaps smoking a joint, because this movie is doing disastrously, critically, box office wise. It's a disaster, and it seems like the renaissance for musicals over the last 3-4 years has not caught on with this movie. It's not been infectious. It's flippity flopping. And I think it's just the uncanny valley effect of the CGI'd cats. It's humans with cat fur, dodgy CGI'd legs which apparently hover above the ground, and just no discernible plot. And yeah, people can go and watch the musical and it's a distinctly unique experience, but when you transfer that over to cinema, sometimes it doesn't work. I've seen critics speak about it, and apparently Hollywood just has an infatuation. Well, it's not apparently, I know this to be true. I've spoke about movies long enough now to know that Hollywood has a complete infatuation with trying to adapt everything which has a modicum of success onto the big screen, and it doesn't always play out, and it's certainly not played out for this movie. And all of the cast involved. Well, actually, Idris Elba was supposed to be superb. Dame Judi Dench apparently does what she does, but it's tonally off. It's serious in parts, comedic in parts, just an array of dance numbers, as I did say. But look, guys, I'll move swiftly onwards to our next little topic, and this is all about the ill-fated New Mutants. Will it ever come? Will it not ever come? Well, apparently Marvel have gave the movie its blessing, and a trailer will be coming on January next year. And apparently this movie will indeed be coming out in that, I think it was, I want to say May or June slot. I spoke about it, I think, fairly recently. Apparently it will be happening. Oh no, no, that's a trailer. I'm sorry, I get a little bit tongue-tied and caught out there. I was looking at the article and it was confusing me, but no, definitely trailer coming out in January. Movie comes out, I believe, a few months later. And it's actually the illustrator for the New Mutants comics, Bill Sienkiewicz, I want to say his name is. He's come out and says that he was speaking with Josh Boone, of course, the director, and he had confirmed that he'd been working on a new trailer. He'd got a chance to watch it, and he says it was phenomenal and that he got the chills. The whole Fox-Disney merger had slowed things right down. Obviously, they'd put everything under the control of Kevin Feige. He then had to oversee it and give it his blessing. Well, it's been gave its blessing, and it's looking like it's going to chive in perhaps with what they're doing. And well, maybe it'll be a side thing to the MCU, but certainly they seem to be going off in slight horror tangents just now in the MCU as well, with WandaVision, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and then subsequently down the road Blade will have a real horror vibe, so it maybe fits in with the overall tone of what they're doing with the comic book side of things, Disney. So yeah, they've gave it its blessing. It's coming out, a trailer in January. I know for a fact Stephen in particular will be delighted to hear that. He has had this movie on his most anticipated list for about 2 years now. Looks like it's finally coming, and I'm excited for it as well. Going to be cool to see what Anya Taylor-Joy, Maisie Williams, Finn Wolfhard bring to a comic book mutant film. It's set within the confines of an asylum. This crazed doctors try to kill them or maybe help them. Hallucinations are coming out. They're haunted by their past, and it looks like a mystery horror vibe. I think it's PG-13, but they are pushing the extent of that rating to the absolute maximum. So I'm really excited to see that that's finally getting back into motion, and that it looks like it's on its way, because I've been intrigued by the photographs that have been coming out and just the little trailers we've seen previously. It's got a decent young cast, and I'm sure it will be semi-decent anyway. Maybe a precursor for what we see in terms of mutants entering the MCU. I don't think this movie will be connected, I have to add, to the MCU in any way, shape or form. But look guys, I will move on. That was a very, very brief. I'm looking at the time there. I still have plenty of time, but that was a brief topic. I felt like I would speak about it because I didn't want it to be too box office heavy this week, so I thought I'd break it up with a couple of other movie news articles. And this next one's coming in from MovieWeb, and it's all about one Mr. Daniel Craig speaking and revealing the reason that he did No Time to Die. Now, he has come out and says in an interview with someone whose name eludes me at the moment, organisation as well, I can't see the name, but he's come out and said anyway, if that had been it, the world would have carried on as normal and I would have been absolutely fine, but somehow it felt like we needed to finish something off. If I'd have left it at Spectre, something at the back of my head would have been going, I wish I'd done one more. I always had a kind of secret idea about the whole lot in my head and when I wanted to take it, and Spectre wasn't that, but this feels like it is. So, yeah, I can completely understand what he's saying. Spectre, I mean, I've been championing Daniel Craig as an actor for a long, long time, and I've admitted time and again I'm not the biggest James Bond aficionado by any means, but I think he's done a pretty decent job in the main of portraying James Bond. He's probably one of the better ones outside Connery and whatnot, and so it's nice to see that he had a clear vision in his mind and that he was completely comfortable with what he had left in terms of legacy with this character, so much so that he was quite happy to walk away after Spectre, which is widely regarded as the weakest of his movies, I do believe. So it's nice to see he has that level of comfort in what he's accomplished with the character first and foremost, that he was ready to walk off into the sunset if his time was up. But it's also nice to see that he had a clear vision for this character moving forward, where he wanted it to end, and that he's now had the chance to carry it out, because I feel like that's something that's perhaps missing when you have a franchise of this ilk where various different actors have come in and portrayed the character. Perhaps have not had the chance to see it out to its natural conclusion, and they've maybe been forced out the door earlier. Maybe they've just lost love with the character. They've not had the chance because of behind the scenes politics and whatnot, which this movie had. So it's nice to see that he's had that chance, because he's been a good Bond, as I did say previously. I'm really excited for this movie. Seen the trailer earlier on today again in the cinema when I went to see The Rise of Skywalker, and it was very impressive in terms of technical aspects. The wide shot filming, the action sequences have been captured wonderfully by the cinematographer. He looks completely comfortable as a character at this stage, Daniel Craig as well, and it just looks like a beautifully shot and crafted movie. I'm really intrigued by Rami Malek as the villain. Just this concept of various different actors and characters from previous movies blending over. It's all feeling slightly Mission Impossible now, just the way that it's all blending in. That adds a degree of foundation to the character and the story, and it allows you to connect in a certain way. So I'm very excited for this. Very excited to see the end for Daniel Craig in a positive way. I want to see the guy get out with a bang. Not for an absolute fact. He was speaking about potentially killing James Bond off and maybe getting rid of this whole goddamn Doctor Who thing where we have multiple guys coming in, and just add some stakes to the movie as well. If you feel like it's not inevitable that he will survive. So, very excited for it. Very excited to see what's coming. Very excited to see if that Fukunaga guy, whose first name eludes me at the moment, Kari Fukunaga, I want to say his name is, if I can speak. Be intrigued to see if he's come in and did a great job after the behind the scenes shenanigans with Danny Boyle and whatnot. But I'm going to move on, guys, because I am done speaking about James Bond, and I'm done speaking about news articles in general. The next part of the show on a Monday, of course, is Box Office, where I break down the last weekend for the United Kingdom's box office. This is for the weekend of December 13th to 15th, 2019, incidentally, if I can speak. And coming in at number 1's Jumanji, The Next Level. Of course, this is pre-Rise of Skywalker, as I did say earlier in the show. This has come in with $12.5 million. Don't know why they give us it in dollars, it's very annoying. Also, it's grossed $6.9 million. It's probably been staggered over midweek. I can't recall the exact date it came out. I want to say it was midweek, and then that will have carried on to its weekend. So overall, $12.5 million. It's opened in 1,651 theatres. That is the most I have ever seen in the United Kingdom. Very impressive indeed. Dwayne, because I'm going to say Dwayne, because he's the guy that brings in the Spondulics for Sony and the Jumanji renewed franchise. Overall, $311.9 million worldwide. Already a massive success. The movie had a $125 million budget. Even with promotion, it's pretty damn decent profit they're looking at here. It's not been out very long at all. This will be its second weekend as we speak. First weekend I'm speaking about. And I see this movie probably $700 million, $800 million, I'd say, when it's done. Could it hit $1 billion? That may very well, but there is the competition of The Rise of Skywalker, so that may eat into its profits significantly. But overall, I think we're going to see more Jumanji movies. I think we'll see more of Dwayne Johnson and Jack Black if he doesn't retire, and Karen Gillan and Kevin Hart. So that's a positive, isn't it? I've not seen the movie yet, so I can't speak about the overall artistic merits of this movie. But look, guys, I'll move on to number 2, and it's Frozen 2. It's grossed another $4.2 million At the previous weekend, 26.3% drop, taking its overall performance to $49.6 million in the United Kingdom. Very strong performance indeed, again for a Disney release. It's grossed well over $1.1 billion worldwide. Blows my mind. I think they're on course for 7 movies over the $1 billion mark. By all accounts, seems to be garnering more respect as the weeks go on, this sequel to the incredibly popular first Frozen movie. I've not seen it yet. I don't know if I will at this stage. I think it'd be strange me strolling into a theatre on my own at 30 to watch Frozen 2. Giving off the wrong vibes, especially with that beard. But look guys, I'll move on to number 3. It's Last Christmas, another movie I says I'd go and watch, and I haven't seen it yet. It's grossed another $1.3 million, $1.6 million in the previous weekend, just a 4% drop. It's dropped 11 theatres, still showing in 611, which is decent, and its overall grossing is $19 million. Worldwide, $110.1 million. They're capturing that Christmas festive spirit. Emilia Clarke, Henry Golding, Emma Thompson. It's meant to be a decent little rom-com movie, some decent performances in there, and that's really been highlighted and mirrored with the performance financially. So look, hats off to them. I haven't got much more to add. I am acutely aware of time running out here, so I will try and blitz through this very, very quickly. Number 4, we have Knives Out. It's grossed another $1.63 million, 23.1% drop, 679 theatres. It's dropped 2, and it's now sitting at $10.9 million overall in the United Kingdom. It's about to say worldwide there. Worldwide, it's sitting at $185.6 million, or just shy of it. Well, it's a Ryan Johnson movie, whodunit movie. It's a kind of like his take on Agatha Christie. Always want to say that. Chris Evans is in there, Daniel Craig's in there, Michael Shannon's in there, a whole array of amazing actors and actresses. I really enjoyed it. It was a great addition to the whodunit murder mystery genre, and I'm glad to see that overall it's doing well success in terms of financially. But it will probably get destroyed by Star Wars, which is kind of ironic, you know, because he destroyed Star Wars, the little shit. But anyway, I'll move on on that note to number 5, and it's Black Christmas. Never heard of this. $377,000 opening weekend. It's a Universal Pictures release, and it's about a group of female students being stalked by a stranger during their Christmas break. I've never even heard of this movie, but look, $13.3 million worldwide, $3 million budget. I think I just read there. That cannot be right. $5 million budget. Hats off to it. They're clearly trying to grab some cash through the Christmas period, and it's worked to a degree. But it's something different, isn't it, really? It's a horror movie with a Christmas vibe off it, so that is off them. I'm intrigued, but I probably won't go and watch it. I'll go back and watch The Rise of Skywalker more than likely, because I'm a sad git. But guys, number 6 this week is Blue Story, of course, that rap, kind of a criminal gang, I want to say, warfare thing that's going on in this movie. I've not seen it. I just know that people were trying to kill other people with machetes at a view in Birmingham. That's all I know about this movie. That, and I think it's YouTube related in some way. But another $300,000 over the weekend. It's dropped 38.2%. Down theatres, $5.5 million. Overall, hasn't got a wide release. Ain't going to go and see it. But well done for earning in some money, because I'm sure they're getting noble causes behind making this movie. Maybe trying to highlight some of the issues in terms of gang crime and whatnot, and maybe try to educate some people, young people, into not falling into that lifestyle. But guys, I will move on to number 7. It's Bolshoi, Ballet, the Nutcracker. It's grossed $250,000 in its opening weekend, taking its overall performance to, well, who would have thought it, $250,000. It's another live performance hitting the cinema. We have seen multiple ones like this over the last few weeks. I've not had a chance to see it, and I don't even know what it is, so I'm probably not going to see it. It'll probably drop out into nothingness after this weekend anyway, so hats off to it again. And I'll move on to number 8 on that note, a movie which I thoroughly enjoyed, well within my top 5 of 2019. It's Ford v Ferrari. Grossed another $226,000 overall, 6.9% drop on the previous weekend's performance, $7.7 million overall. What a stunning performance that is for a movie based on a couple of guys, and a story overall. Le Mans 66 and the battle between Ferrari and Ford, which people over here won't really connect with, won't know much about, so it wasn't really heavily promoted over here either, and I would imagine only real cinephiles would have went and watched it. people who like Christian Bale or Matt Damon, presumably. $192.9 million overall. Didn't need the British money. It had a $97.6 million budget, which is quite large, I have to say. I don't know where they spent that. Must have been Christian Bale's wage. But it's probably made a sliver of a profit. But these are more art-centric, art house, not art house, but Oscar baiting movies. They're not out for the spindulics. As long as they make a profit and get some award recognition, then that's really all they're looking for. But look, guys, I will move on to number 9. It's How to Marry a Millionaire. It's opening weekend at $139,000. That is what it's grossed overall. It's a Magnets is the production company. It's a Polish romantic comedy. I ain't going to add much more. I ain't Polish. I'm not going to watch a Polish movie. I'm sorry, I just ain't. So I'll move on to number 10 on that note, and it's Home Alone. It's a 2018 re-release. It's a 2019 re-release, surely. And it's grossed $117,000. It's been in the theatres apparently for 55 weeks. So technically it is 2018, and it's just carried through, I would imagine. I think that's what's happened. $378,000 overall goes Home Alone. One of the all-time great Christmas movies, really, with Macaulay Culkin and Joe Pesci. Wonderful movie, one of my all-time favourites. Many a year growing up I would watch this movie in and out of Christmas, just rocking around the Christmas tree. Brenda Lee, just so much fun antics going on in there. Wonderful, and I'm glad to see it's back in the theatres again. I'd probably go and watch it if it is still out. So look, hats off to that. Hats off to the people who re-released it for getting some extra dosh into their hands. But look, that's going to round up today's box office segment of the show, and indeed it's going to round up this Monday's MBE movie news. If you have stuck around to now watching this in consecutive order, then good lord, you deserve a medal, like Chewbacca at the end of Rise of Skywalker. But look, what have you got to say about the topics I spoke about, if anything? What do you think about the Rise of Skywalker? The B+ cinema score? The disappointing box office performance, opening weekend of $175 million. What's your thoughts on Cats? Have you seen it? Is it a pile of shit? What's your thoughts on New Mutants finally coming out, and Daniel Craig speaking about coming to a natural conclusion for his stint as James Bond? If you've got anything to say, comment below and let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, and you can subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying content like this. And if you do, then you will see me and Stephen probably doing a review of The Rise of Skywalker, and me again probably doing something pre-recorded for Christmas Day, more than likely, heroes, very very soon indeed.